On my birthday night, the college girl Lila kept sending me snaps. In it she lay naked from the waist up in my fiancé Vivian's arms, the flush on her cheeks still fading. She loves me. Why can't you just let go? I stared at the image, forwarded it to Vivian with no expression. Is this what you want? Fine, I'll give it to you. She'd forgotten, the engagement she now treats like a leash was the one she begged me for. Since freedom's what she craves, I'll give her freedom. Before we go on, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling us where you're listening. Midnight, and Vivian still hadn't come home. I picked up my phone and dialed. No answer the first time. Second, third. On the seventh try the call finally connected. Before I could speak, Vivian's irritated voice cracked across the line. Are you done yet, Skylar? God, you're pathetic. Behind her, bass thundered through the Edge Club speakers, but the noise was nothing beside the icicles in her tone. I drew a slow breath, tightening my grip on the phone. It's past 12. Don't forget what you promised. I kept my voice level, but calm was the last thing I felt. We'd already filed the marriage license. Only the ceremony was missing, yet at the finish line she'd fallen for someone else and refused to cross it. I couldn't chain her, so I offered a bargain. Give me 1 month, I said. 1 month of us acting like we used to. If, after 30 days, she still couldn't remember our past, or feel even a flicker of what we had, I would be the one to sign the divorce papers. Yes, Vivian had amnesia, a head injury from the crash right after the courthouse in Manhattan. Memories, feelings for me, all wiped clean. Then Lila showed up. Vivian was instantly, hopelessly in love. She dragged a naive freshman into Upper East Side galas and drowned her in couture and carrots. Extravagance on a reckless scale, and Lila's mind was as deep as her pockets were shallow. She found my WhatsApp from who knows where. Day and night she flooded my screen with couple selfies and essays. Skylar, Vivian and I are real. Please stop clinging. She doesn't love you. Why won't you set her free? Trapped by a family merger. Can she ever be happy? Family merger. Little did Lila know, I was the one who'd been chased. Our families had been allies for generations. Vivian and I grew up side by side in Greenwich, Connecticut. Without that crash we would still be planning the rest of our lives. But life doesn't trade in ifs. My promise of divorce made Vivian hesitate. Finally, for Lila's sake, she swallowed her disgust and agreed. I set 2 rules. First, be home by midnight. Second, no intimacy with anyone else during the month. Break either and the papers stay locked in my desk. It had been only a handful of days. Skylar, get this through your head. You may be my wife on paper, but I don't love you. Who do you think you are making demands? A scornful laugh burst through the speaker. You know, coming home and seeing your face literally sickens me. She hurled the venom as though it cost her nothing, never caring how much it would sting. I clenched my jaw, refusing to break. A girl's pout floated in from the background. Viv, if you keep talking I'll really get mad. Come on, 3 shots, down them and I'll forgive you. Lila. Then Vivian's voice melted into a tenderness I'd never heard her use on me. Okay, little sourpot. The warmth vanished as she snapped at me again. Anything else? No. Then stop wasting my time. Coldly I said, remember our deal. Come home now, or I come get you. Either way, you'll never divorce me if you break this. Half a minute of silence, then a vicious hiss. You really are shameless. In the end she caved. I parked outside the Edge Club at 1 a.m. She was holding court with Manhattan's most infamous trust fund kids. Pre-crash. Vivian wouldn't have spared them a glance. Leeches living off old money. She called them. Post-crash. She joined the flock. One guy spotted me first. Yo, Viv, your fiancé's here. His grin was pure malice. Didn't expect the sterling heiress to hunt her girl down. Afraid she'll stray. The booth erupted. Only Lila didn't laugh. Her face darkened with fear and resentment. Eyes locked on me like I was about to snatch her prize. Vivian lounged at the center. Annoyance, the only emotion I rated. She emptied her glass and sighed. Way to kill the vibe. I ignored every smirk. Let's go. It's late. Instantly Lila clutched her arm, whining. Baby, the night's still young. Vivian cuddled her closer, murmuring apologies. They nuzzled in full view. The perfect picture of star-crossed lovers. While I became the villain sent to part them, even the jaded heirs felt the drama itch. Sterling princess, you barged into our party, rude. Tell you what, drain this bottle and you can cart her home. He shoved a 5th of bottom-shelf whiskey toward me. I started to refuse, but Vivian egged him on, openly amused. Our families have a deal on the table tonight. She screws this up. The boardroom gets messy. She sprawled back, waiting for my move. The Vance elders had always treated me like a daughter. I couldn't sabotage them. I lifted the bottle. The reek alone turned my stomach. Years of chronic gastritis had landed me at New York Presbyterian Hospital more than once. Old Vivian had spent nights learning bone broths and oatmeal. Flour dust on her Hermes apron. If you land in the Again I'm binge drinking myself sick, see how you like it. She'd brandish a ladle, half teasing, half terrified. The ghost of that girl hovered in front of me, unreachable. Under every watching eye, hers most of all, I tipped the bottle to my lips. Fine, I'll drink. Bar whiskey burns like paint thinner and hits like a hammer. Barely a third in, cold sweat coated my skin. I fought not to vomit. My audience sobered fast. No one wanted the Sterling heir hospitalized on their watch. The ringleader waved frantically. Enough, Sterling. You've got guts. Stop before we carry you out. Vivian rolled her eyes. Buzzkill. She rose. All right, kids. I'm out. Lou, we'll finish the term sheet tomorrow. Lila still hung on, lip trembling. I swallowed bile, strode over, and peeled Vivian's hand from Lila's grip, dragging her toward the exit. The second we cleared the vestibule, she wrenched free and shoved me. My vision cartwheeled. I hit the marble floor hard. The alcohol revolted, and I retched across the foyer. Disgust twisted her face. Skylar, you're pathetic, chasing me down, humiliating yourself. She wanted more damage. Grabbed the crystal vase from the console and smashed it against my forehead. Blood dripped into my eye. Through the red haze I glimpsed a ghost of the Vivian who once loved me. My gut felt molten, but none of that bought mercy. She spun away and vanished into her Upper West Side penthouse. I crawled upright, called a rideshare to New York Presbyterian, got stitched, and collapsed on the gurney without ever going home. In the dream, I saw our past again, back when we first got together. Vivian loved watching those over-the-top soap operas, scheming mistresses, amnesia plot twists. She even dragged me to binge them with her. After every episode she'd look at me, worried. Tell me, will you ever forget me, like they do? I'd laugh and kiss her forehead. Relax, I could forget my own name before I ever forget you. She'd beam and pull me into her arms. Me too. But dreams are dreams, and dreams end. The next morning, Lila cornered me outside Sterling headquarters in Midtown Manhattan. Jealousy blazed in her eyes. Shameless much. Takes one to know one. Which of us is the real homewrecker? I fired back cold as ice. She didn't answer. Venom practically dripping from her stare. Then she gave a short, mocking laugh. Skylar, we all know Sterling is bleeding cash. That's why you keep clinging to Vivian? You want to strap the Vance Empire to your sinking ship. Too bad she loves me now. The one without love is the side piece. Get it? I arched an eyebrow. So you ambushed me to flaunt that? I'd stolen Vivian from her last night, bruised her ego, and now she wanted payback. I couldn't be bothered. I turned to leave. She lunged and grabbed my arm. I lifted my hand to shake her off. She dropped to the pavement. I frowned. I'd barely touched her. Before I could speak, her face flipped to wounded innocence. All earlier aggression gone. Skylar, I know you hate me, but did you have to lure me out here just to humiliate me? She cradled her wrist, tears shimmering. Hurt me all you want, but please stop tormenting Vivian. She's free. Don't chain her to some corporate merger. She stood, sighed, gave a bitter smile. If it matters that much, I'll vanish. You'll never see me again. Footsteps pounded behind me. No need to look, Vivian. No wonder Lila had staged the act. Those words weren't for me. They were for her. Vivian rushed over. Lila blinked as if just noticing her, then bowed her head, voice trembling. Sorry, Skylar. I didn't mean to. I only wanted to apologize. But Vivian soothed her. Then glared at me, fury sparking. Skylar, disgusting. Can't wait to take her down. Can you? Money doesn't give you the right to crush people. She didn't wait for an answer, just unloaded every accusation. Years of us, outweighed by a 3-week-old sob story. Vivian kept ranting, grabbed my arm, demanding I apologize to Lila. Lila fluttered up, pretending to mediate. The three of us tangled, then Lila shoved with sudden force, sending me stumbling backward. The shriek of brakes blanked my mind. The next second something slammed me aside. The world spun into blur. Before darkness swallowed me, I saw Vivian run to Lila, fold her in a protective embrace. Lila's eyes met mine, cold, triumphant. I woke back at New York Presbyterian. The doctor chuckled. 2 visits in 2 days, lucky you. Thanks to quick braking. No major trauma, just a nasty fracture in my left arm. While he updated me, I caught my parents' voices in the corridor, plus Vivian's, all of them blaming her. The moment the doctor said I was awake, Mom dashed in, wiping tears, clutching my hand, asking where it hurt. Everyone else followed. Eleanor looked stricken. Skylar, the Vance estate owes you. I'll make this right. If that brat dares betray you, I'll disown her myself. Vivian, the author of the whole disaster, offered a flat sorry, then retreated to a corner, head down, watching her. I felt something inside me crack. I spoke softly. Mom, Dad, Mr. and Mrs. Vance, please leave. I need to talk to Vivian alone. My parents respect my wishes. Worried as they were, they stepped out. Richard paused to shoot Vivian a warning glare. Fix your attitude, or face the consequences. Vivian stayed mute. Silence fell, thick and suffocating. Finally, Finally she lifted her gaze, guilt flickering. I'm sorry. Lila didn't mean. A laugh burst out of me. After everything, her first line defended Lila. And you're sure of that? How? Vivian scowled, offended. Clearly I'd maligned her darling. I didn't bother arguing. Security footage would speak. The cops could sort truth from lies. I studied her, still seeing the moment after impact. Her running to Lila, not dialing 911. She sulked, then muttered, Skylar, I'm sorry. Skip the apology. I cut her off. The one who should apologize is Lila, remember. She inhaled. So you're going to push this forever? I gave a hollow laugh and shut my eyes. When I opened them again, every ounce of love had drained away. Vivian, get out. Don't let me see you. She hesitated, longing to speak. I closed my eyes. Done. She mumbled another sorry, and walked out without looking back. No doubt rushing to comfort her little girlfriend. I didn't forgive Lila. The instant Vivian left I filed assault charges. Lila was held without bail. Police pulled the security footage from the Midtown sidewalk. Distance was no problem. It clearly showed her thrusting me into traffic. That alone could earn her years. Vivian stormed back almost immediately, kicking the door open. What the hell? Skylar. She yanked my injured arm, rage distorting her face. A nurse intervened. Ma'am, control yourself. The patient is recovering. She shoved Vivian's hand away. Vivian turned on her. Don't lecture me. I can have you unemployed in 5 seconds. I frowned. Our mess shouldn't splash civilians. It's fine, thank you. The nurse shot me a worried glance, then left. What do you want? I studied Vivian. She looked wrecked. Probably hadn't slept. Drop the case and sign a letter of forgiveness. Cold command. Same old entitlement. That's your idea of begging. I snorted. If that driver's reflexes had been a second slower, I'd be in a funeral home, not a hospital. Attempted murder is still murder whether she meant it or not. Vivian rolled her eyes. But you didn't die. So what's the problem? Lila's young. It was an accident. A record ruins her life. Hilarious. The Vance fortune can bankroll her. Already does. Right. Vivian's face darkened. Fine. Name your price. Price. I thought I was beyond hurt, but that single word knifed straight through me. When she'd feigned amnesia, I hadn't cracked. When she'd fallen for someone else, I'd still fought. Yet those 2 syllables, your price, gutted me. Ignoring the cast, I shoved her away. Get lost. Vivian, stay out of my life. Her mouth opened. Stunned. I stared. Empty. Lila will do time. Even the Vance name can't erase that. So accept it. Vivian pressed her lips into a thin line, her eyes glittering with frost. Name your price. If you'll sign the letter of forgiveness, I'll give you anything. How laughable. Not long ago this same woman could barely stand the sight of me. Now, for another girl's sake, she's ready to promise the moon. I stared at her and suddenly smiled. Anything. She clenched her jaw and nodded. Anything. I drew a slow breath. Fine. I want a vow renewal ceremony with me. Vivian's face went arctic. Skylar, have you no pride left? Forcing someone who doesn't love you to stay? Does that really make you happy? She was shaking, and for a second I thought she might lunge and throttle me. She didn't get the chance. The nurse at the door overheard the shouting and quietly called my parents. Vivian shot me one last murderous glare, snorted, and stalked out. When Mom heard I still wanted to marry her, she cried until her eyes swelled. Sweetheart, why put yourself through this? Bitterness pooled in my throat, but I gentled my voice. Don't worry, Mom. I know what I'm doing. They ached for me, begged me not to keep chasing a ghost. I refused. I refused to let them off that easily. I'd started to wonder, why had Vivian lost her memory? Even if she had, why the venom aimed only at me? I cornered her doctor. He hinted, carefully, that her scans were clean. No partial amnesia on file. That's when I knew the amnesia was theater. A performance so frantic it cracked at the edges. People don't morph into strangers overnight. Unless they're pretending. She wouldn't come back to me, so she'd play the part of the woman who'd forgotten I existed. Fine. I wouldn't grant her exit. In the end Vivian agreed to my terms. Planning moved at lightning speed. Eleanor and Richard were ecstatic, footing every bill and demanding the best of everything. They thought their daughter had come to her senses. The night before the ceremony, Vivian never showed. I knew she was soothing Lila, afraid the spectacle would break her. I'd once been the recipient of that same laser-focused devotion. When Vivian loves, she raises the world to keep you safe. For a heartbeat, I envied Lila. 3 days out, Eleanor ordered Vivian home. Today was our wedding gown shoot at Celeste Bridal Atelier in Manhattan. Vivian's face stayed carved from ice, disgust flickering in her eyes. Even the staff traded worried glances. I pretended not to notice and stepped into the custom gown. Minutes later, tailored tux immaculate, Vivian appeared in the mirror beside me. I'd pictured this moment since childhood. The reflection didn't disappoint. I looked unreal. Every inch the fairy tale bride. Yet inside I was eerily numb. Hurry up and shoot. Vivian snapped. I met her impatient stare. When had that same face become a stranger's? Of course, I answered with a smile. Per her insistence, we skipped the studio and snapped a handful of hurried shots right there. Dress bags still rustling around us. The instant the last shutter clicked, she strode out, leaving me behind. The salesgirls oozed pity. I ignored them and told the manager, when the prints are ready, courier a set to the Vance estate in Greenwich. The ceremony was glitzy and lavish. Despite the rush, every detail screamed old money excess. Dynastic allies, Forbes list CEOs, and glossy magazine editors packed the pews at St. Patrick's Cathedral. All eyes were on us. Vivian had to play nice. At the vows, just as we reached the wedding bands, Lila stepped into the doorway. In front of 300 guests, she dragged a silver letter opener across her wrist. Vivian's eyes went blood red. She flung the band aside, elbowed through the crowd, and dropped to her knees beside Lila. Lila, don't. I won't do this. I swear, I'm taking you to New York Presbyterian right now. She scooped Lila up and bolted. Gasps ricocheted through the ballroom. Our parents erupted. Richard shattered a crystal vase against the marble. You walk out that door and you're no daughter of mine. Vivian never looked back. The society wedding of the year ended in pandemonium. After I'd murmured apologies to shell-shocked guests, I returned home to a new message. Skylar. Game. Set. Match. A 5-word victory lap. Smug enough to drip through the screen. Her Instagram followed, a blurry clip of Vivian pacing a hospital corridor. Worry etched across every feature. I powered off the phone. Rumor had it Vivian knelt on the Vance estate doorstep 24 hours straight, begging her parents to accept Lila. They wouldn't budge. Richard's blood pressure spiked. Paramedics rushed him to New York Presbyterian that night. Eleanor shifted from roaring lectures to silent, constant tears. Finally she called me. Skylar, I'm sorry, but we only have the one child. I understand. Children are a parent's soft underbelly, so I forgave the woman who once vowed to disown Vivian if she wouldn't marry me. Of course, Eleanor, let's meet. When I arrived, Vivian was still kneeling on the front steps, jaw set. Eyes defiant. Eleanor hovered, dabbing her eyes, pleading. Vivian never uttered a word. She scowled when she saw me. What are you doing here? Let me be crystal clear. I will not marry you. Over my dead body. I studied her for a long moment, then smiled. Very well. I'll give you what you want. From my bag I drew the divorce papers, prepared weeks ago. Sign. Vivian didn't hesitate. Eleanor and Richard, awash in guilt, yielded huge concessions in our next board negotiations. My father accepted without gloating. They owed us. I booked a solo trip, meeting horizon lines that weren't New York City. Mom and Dad approved, showering me with airline vouchers and unconditional love. But even after I deleted both their numbers, updates leaked through friends. Word was, Lila proposed to Vivian, skywriting over Miami Beach. String quartet, the full spectacle. Clips trended for days. Hashtag boss lady proposes lit the internet on fire. Mom, incensed, started parading eligible heirs across my calendar. Determined I wouldn't be outshone, I surrendered to one coffee date. When I spotted the chiseled profile waiting in the cafe, I almost laughed. Leave it to Margaret Sterling to land Hollywood's reigning king as my blind date. The man was practically holographic, flawless even under neon espresso bar bulbs. Skylar, I'm Adrian. I inclined my head. Your reputation precedes you. Oscar winner. He grinned, skipped the small talk, and asked what made me laugh, what kept me awake, what coffee I drank. I expected awkwardness. Instead, conversation flowed like we'd known each other since pilot season. Halfway through my latte I blurted, someone like you needs matchmakers. Adrian lifted a shoulder. Normal guy, normal parents, normal pressure, deadline's deadline. I toasted him in solidarity. After coffee he offered tickets to a late screening. I accepted. We sat in velvet dimness, thighs brushing whenever we laughed, and by the end credits the space between us felt thinner. Then we stepped outside, and the world slammed backward. Vivian and Lila, hand in hand, strolling the same Los Angeles multiplex tile. Our eyes locked. Vertigo hit. It felt like years, like gazing at strangers wearing familiar masks. Lila broke the silence. Syrupy sweet. Well, if it isn't Skylar. Long time. And this must be your new boyfriend. She raked an appraising glance over Adrian, who stood anonymous behind sunglasses. I didn't answer. Adrian sensed the static and stayed quiet. Only Lila spoke, bright and relentless, as though we were best friends. Save the date, Skylar. Vivian and I are tying the knot soon. You'll come, won't you? Sure, I said. I felt nothing, and that, finally, was freedom. But the two families still had business ties. Courtesy and prudence both demanded that someone from my house show up at the Vance vow renewal ceremony. When she saw no bitterness on my face, Lila decided the fun was over, pouted, and shut up. Right then Adrian slipped his arm through mine. Congratulations to the happy couple. If there's nothing else, I'll take my girlfriend and be on my way. Vivian, silent until now, went ice cold at the words. I didn't answer her. I simply pulled Adrian toward the car. Just before I climbed and I heard Lila's jealous whine. Babe, why are you still staring at her? After that night Adrian and I started meeting all the time. He hid it well, but sooner or later the entertainment world sniffed the rumor. Oscar-winning Adrian was seeing a woman. Some paparazzo even sold a grainy snap of us sharing dinner in Malibu. In front of the lenses Adrian didn't deny a thing. He came right out with it. Yes, but we're not dating. I'm still trying to convince her to date me. His fan base exploded. That same night a new contact ping came in from Vivian. The entire message read, "Come get your stuff." I blinked, then understood. I typed back, "Throw it out." Immediate reply, "It's filthy. I don't want to touch it." Was it me she found filthy? Or the clothes? I laughed, amazed she still had the gall. Next morning, when I went to empty the closets of our penthouse, Vivian was actually home. Except for opening the door she never looked at me once. She only snapped, "Make it fast." I couldn't be bothered to argue. I marched to the bedroom, swept everything into suitcases, and cleared the room. As I reached the foyer she called after me. "Skylar." "What?" I didn't turn. After a long hesitation she spoke. Voice flat, "Shut the door on your way out." After that, Vivian evaporated from my life. I started over, and the more time passed, the more of it I spent with Adrian. We skied in Aspen, dove off the Cayman Islands, jumped out of planes over the Mojave Desert. He flew to sets all over the country, and every return flight brought a box of some local delicacy. Of course the cameras caught us again, a blurry frame here, a stolen video clip there. Instead of burying the story Adrian posted a crystal clear selfie of the two of us. "My girl hates noise. Please be cool and let us have our space." It was a soft launch that felt like a hard launch. I answered in kind, an Instagram of us wrapped in each other's arms, and daily stories after that. Friends and relatives flooded every post with hearts and champagne emojis. Everyone decided I'd finally found the real thing. Somewhere in the dazzle of double taps I even spotted Vivian's username. I scrolled past without a second thought. Our first New Year together. Adrian was stuck on location in Vancouver and couldn't make the family dinner in Greenwich. At midnight on New Year's Eve he called to apologize. My mother abandoned her pot stickers the second she heard future son-in-law, snatched my phone, and cooed Adrian, "Sweetheart," until I wrenched it back. Over her shoulder I heard the doorbell. I opened the door, surprised. "What do you want?" Vivian stood on the stoop, knuckles flaming red. She must have been there a while. She forced a stiff smile. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" "Inconvenient." I blocked the doorway. "Say what you came to say and leave." The light in her eyes dimmed. "I came to apologize. Skylar, I'm sorry. I treated you like trash. I had no choice." I snorted. "Oh, your memory miraculously came back." She nodded frantically. "Every second. You're my wife, not her. I've already sent Lila packing. We can file for a new marriage certificate tomorrow." "Stop." I cut the fairy tale short. "Some lies are for outsiders. Vivian, don't start believing them yourself." Her face drained of color. What do you mean?" I looked down at her. "You know exactly what I mean." At last it sank in. Her amateur acting had never fooled me. "You knew all along. This is intentional." Hysteria cracked her voice. "You planned to dump me from the start. You let me crawl around with Lila. You handed me the divorce papers, just so you could marry that Hollywood pretty boy." Smack. I slapped her so hard my palm stung. You dare." She clutched her cheek. Stunned, I wiped my hand on my sleeve. Utterly calm. "Intentional." "Yes. I wanted to see if you still had a conscience. You faked amnesia. Let that clown dance in my face. Humiliated me. And now you beg for forgiveness. You make me sick." The words she once spat at me, delivered back. Verbatim. Panic flooded her eyes. "Listen, I was confused. Lila tricked me. A broke college girl tricked you into what?" "Exactly." I remained unmoved. I'd investigated long ago. Lila's reappearance was no accident. They'd been hooking up since their days at NYU. Our engagement kept them underground. Even the car crash had been staged to force me to walk away. "I don't get it, Vivian," I said quietly. "You were desperate to shake me off. Why the sudden encore?" She shook her head wildly. "No, I was wrong. I swear, without you I'm nothing. please. One more chance. It's not that you suddenly value me, I said, smiling. It's that you finally realized you're worthless without me. After the stunt she pulled that sent Richard to the cardiac unit, the Fiancée froze her out. They stripped her titles, slashed her trust fund, and adopted a little boy they intend to groom as heir. Overnight Vivian became a spare part with pocket money allowance. Easy to slide from frugal to lavish. Impossible to crawl back. She came to me because attaching herself to Sterling again was the only way to reclaim a seat at the Vance table. I'd read the reports weeks earlier. Skylar, I'm begging, help me. My parents washed their hands of me. I can't lose you too. She dropped to her knees on my porch, wailing so loudly my parents appeared. My mother's grin vanished the instant she recognized the visitor. Vivian, New Year's Eve and you're on your knees outdoors? How dramatic. Come on, I'll call you an Uber. Home you go. Vivian lifted a tear-streaked face. Aunt Margaret, Richard disowned me. I know I was terrible. Please talk to Skylar. Give me one more shot. Mom blinked. Disowned. So you're not a Vance heir anymore. Vivian nodded. Pitiful. Soft-hearted was not in my mother's repertoire. She yanked me inside and slammed the door. My brilliant daughter marrying a rotten cucumber like you. Not in this lifetime. Even my father gaped. I gave Mom a thumbs up. Mighty Margaret strikes again. I never saw Vivian again after that night. Word reached me later. Lila was pregnant, stormed the Vance gates in Greenwich, and demanded a slice of the company as future grandmother's compensation. Old money merchants to the bone. Richard and Eleanor cut Vivian loose without blinking, and Lila, classic opportunist, once Vivian's coffers emptied, aborted the fetus and jumped into the arms of a 40-something real estate tycoon in Beverly Hills. Vivian's hatred festered until, one random afternoon, she lured Lila to a motel in New Jersey, strangled her, and pitched herself off the balcony. Minutes before impact, a final text popped into my phone. If there's a next life, I'll still marry you. Penny for your thoughts. Babe. Adrian appeared, dish towel over one shoulder, brandishing a plate of sizzling garlic shrimp. I deleted the message. Nothing worth keeping. The past can stay buried. I don't buy reincarnation, so I'm keeping my eyes and my heart on the man in front of me. Thanks for listening to our story. If you liked it, smash that like button and share it with a friend. Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next episode.